Hey, thought I'd make a video. Haven't made one in ages. This Darth Vader from Hasbro from '97. His batteries apparently were dying. So yesterday he just started talking on his own, even though you're supposed to push a button to get this guy to talk. I think his button's over here on his ribs or something. And he just very quietly was explaining the Force and how you should have to reckon with it. And then, as I was kind of like thinking, well, that's obviously his battery's dying because it was just so quiet. And I thought, okay, I'll start to get it. I started taking off all of his stuff. Turns out, by the time I get up out of here, he goes, "Take my mask off so I can look at you with my own eyes." And I'm like, "Oh well, I don't really need to take your helmet off, but no problem, dude." So I took his helmet off and continued to strip him because you really have to get 90% of his stuff off to get to this little panel back here. But look how clean that sucker is. I really lucked out. I'll zoom in. The batteries had been in there since day one. I think they were ever ready. Not a bit of swelling or nothing burst. It just slowly died enough for it to basically ask for help. And we'll look for his button once we get his batteries back in. But went and got some new rechargeables, which let me zoom back out. Holy cow, $16 or something. I think I usually buy these on eBay. I mean on Amazon because you get a little better deal. But it's like, yeah, when you need them. So these were AAA, which never ends up staying around the house. Either ends up in a remote, or the last two I had went off in a little Star Wars project for Christmas. I made my son a little lantern that is also like the bombs from Return of the Jedi, which is where all this guy's voice uh, cues come from. Oh, now wait a minute. I think these are double A's or triple A's. Yeah, I was freaked out. I'm like, wait, this is double A's. It's just that it's all black on black. All right, old Anakin. Let's see where your button is. Oh, sure, now he shuts up. He hadn't spoken, and I hadn't touched him in days. I'd moved him a little bit on a dresser, but I hadn't like moved his arms around or anything. I just kind of moved him from one side to another. And the bugger didn't say a thing that day. He waited until I was walking past the dresser, and then he quietly said that I did not know the power of the Force. Yeah, this bugger. All right, I think we're gonna have to further strip him down. And they had two of these that talked to each other. There was a Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, but that one had a lightsaber attached to his arm he couldn't take off. It didn't have his prune head. Boy, he's got these shoulder pads built in that make it a little difficult to... Wow, it's really in there. It's almost like it's attached to his body. Let's see if I can snake a finger around him and get this bugger to talk. I thought it's like his abdomen or some fingers. Right in the middle of his chest or under his ribs and on the sides, but it's a surprisingly beefy body. Although the guy that played him, there we go. I found it. I'm still not sure where it is. Okay, we got some breathing. Oh, here it is. It's a button on the back. It's right here. And it's got his lightsaber on, so I think he came with a lightsaber. I couldn't find it. I'm sure it's in a crate. So I made him this little 3D printed lightsaber. It looks like his suit's starting to come apart on my hands. But looks like somewhere around the way that the end disappeared off this thing. But it's nice to let him have something. And then let's go through all of his things. More lightsaber. Well, I guess we'll have to try again at the end to get him to go through his paces because he just keeps playing lightsaber sounds. This little set of screwdrivers has been super useful for collecting toys or for fixing up toys or even new toys because they have the world's smallest screws in them. So this has a variety. It has little tiny versions of pretty much everything you need. So The little diamond shape is the one we need to put a screw back in. Luckily, his screw stayed on this little ripped back part of him. It's got his super beefy back. And it's good if you can take your batteries out of your stuff when it's on display, but I'm the worst at that. Let's see if we can say something else. Okay, we've heard that one. Well, he just wants to duke it out with Obi-Wan. All right, go ahead and seal him up. Try him out. Got Velcro in the very back. We got, this is his chest panel. It's got a little tiny belt with a little stud on it. It's the rubbery plastic, which will be interesting to see how long this stuff lasts, because it's been 25 years so far on this sucker, and it's still super rubbery. I live in Hawaii though, so the air here will kill everything eventually, and it especially rubbery stuff, it eats most plastic. It's got oh, there it goes. And I didn't even know that things like aluminum could rust, but they do here. You can oxidize aluminum, anything, forgetting stuff that regularly rusts, it'll really rust. It was nice to get one more out of them, so that was the help me take this last mask off. Let's see what else we can get out. Hey, underground, rarely heard lightsaber battle. So this is his tunic that's a lot like Boba Fett's newest outfit. Alright, I forgot that. And then that is held together with his loincloth. James Earl Jones. And let's get this. You gotta lay this up pretty flat, or else if it bunches up, it's too much for the connection. They did good stuff in the 90s. I got to visit Hasbro in the early 90s at their Kenner offices. They just renamed it Hasbro, but they hadn't brought back the old Kenner brand. And I was in Cincinnati, and I grew up in California, and I was working in California at Sega and doing video games and stuff. And so I was going out there to look at a G.I. Joe. The newer version of G.I. Joe for back then was, they'd just gone up to like 6-inch figures. And stopped with the classic O-ring. I collected the classic ones like this guy. There was 1/6 scale. And it was Christmas. I was freezing because being from California, you don't know how to dress for cold. I mean, when you go up to snow, you wear kind of an outfit, and then that's the only thing we know. Otherwise, it's always 50 to 90. And so I get there, and I'm wearing a Letterman jacket, which you'd think it's too hot to wear here. I haven't worn it in about 20 years, but freezing there. I think I was just wearing like chinos or something. The wind is cutting through my body. And then we get into their offices. They've got the Queen Alien set up in their lobby. Had just come out for the Aliens toy line, because why not pick an R-rated movie to make a big toy line out of? And they had decorated the entire tree in the lobby with Queen Aliens. I knew I was in the right place. And they gave me a tour, showed me the G.I. Joe stuff we were there for, but then ended up giving me a big 12-inch G.I. Joe thing that had just come out. That was sort of a anniversary edition. And they couldn't have been nicer about hosting, but half my memories are gone because my body was starting to shut down from the cold. So this is actually 2 pieces here. Kind of neat if it was a magnet. I bet there's probably some Hot Toys or something that have a magnet, but at least didn't ask about Padme when he woke up, when he got his batteries back in. There we go. Let's see what else he has to say. Nope. Lasers is always missing. And then we've got his cape, which is back here, which is really nice. I guess it's all just polyester, and it doesn't really have one side or the other, but it's got the Velcro. So this is the outside of his cape. That's the inside. All right. Oop. There goes that helmet. All right. Kids played with this a little bit when they were little. And one of them was born when I got this. One of them was 2. I know he was a little bit older. And there. So he was around while they were little and got into the mix every once in a while, but obviously didn't go out in the backyard or anything. This is back when they had, this was that anniversary G.I. Joe body, so it had these little, you can hear the ratchet in there, ratcheted knees. This faux leather is starting to break up a little bit, so the weather here might be responsible for that more than the age. And then molded hands, which is something they were always fighting with. They weren't sure whether they want to do molded gloves like that, or they do gauntlets, which always looked really weird because his little G.I. Joe hand would be underneath. They did that with some, but then the best was they did Hoth, Luke, and Hoth Han, and they had molded white hands. I ended up using those on a couple of customs because they just look gorgeous, and they had a little, gesture, and fingers were separated and stuff. These are just sort of mitts, and that though, that's a nice figure. It's a little bit like he doesn't have a neck. All right, well, he's all back together. Let's see if he'll go give us anything else. Nope. Does him an order. He'll do 3 lightsabers, and that's all he wants to touch. Hold it. Come on, one more. Nope. All right, well, time to go back on his spot on the dresser, and he can just think about what he wants to say next time his batteries start to die. All right, that was fun. Glad I could show you guys, and I'll do some more videos as I get more fun stuff.